This is game number 2 of a best of 3 between these two awesome players. It's going to be spawning on Frost and in the top right hand position as the Red Terran player. Currently 1-0 up in this best of 3 is HeroMarine. And his opponent spawning in the bottom right. The blue Protoss player needing to win this game to continue forward, or have a chance of continuing forward in this bracket. It's Zeth. Game number 1, we saw Zeth go very greedy in tech. Pretty much spent all of his early game resources in expanding and getting down upgrades in tech. 1 gateway worth of production, not too much there. Whereas what we saw from HeroMarine was a bit more of a standard build. He started off with a quick expansion, a 1 Rax, 1 gas expansion, not a Reaper expand. Got down 4 Hellions, a Medevac, and went for that 2-prong attack where he managed to pick up a nice 11 worker kills. But then it was just his overall better macro in game number 1 which won him the game in the end. He got down far more units, got down a good composition, having scouted the Colossus tech early, and had so many Vikings and just so much stuff, he was able to just move in and take out the Protoss player with just some very nice positioning. We do have a Reaper coming down this game though, so it's a Reaper expand most likely from HeroMarine. If you recall back to game number 1, he did go for a cute little play trying to chuck down a bunker early on. Whether he decides to do that again, we'll have to wait and see for it, but it looks like just the SCV scout gonna get a little peek of the probe move out timing. May go and harass it a little bit, try and block it. Meanwhile, back at home, we do have the reactor coming down, the 1 Reaper making its way forward, and the command center on its way out. The SCV won the fight down to the natural, deterred the expansion for the moment, forced a retreat from that poor little probe, who is going to try and go back. And with the mothership core coming out, should be fine, but there is going to be an engineering bay block. Won't succeed in getting too far up, but that's still 200 HP on that engineering bay, which is always good. It's also forced this mothership core down there, allowing the Reaper pretty much free reign of the main base, especially before this Stalker gets out. Should rack up a probe, maybe 2. Depends on how quickly the mothership core does get back. But still, HeroMarine doing a nice amount to just block that natural expansion timing, now quite substantially. Probe down on the natural is going to start taking some damage. He may not be able to get away in time. While the mothership core can poke at this Reaper nicely, it does still take a long time to kill it. Especially when if it doesn't die, it just moves out of combat and regenerates up health exceptionally fast. Cancel goes down on that engineering bay and the Nexus now has started. But this is a big lead for HeroMarine. He's roughly 90 seconds ahead in terms of the expansion timing. And as a result of that, he's going to have a decent number of SCVs and the mules as well to just boost his economy compared to that of Zeth's. HeroMarine still trying to harass with that Reaper. Going to have to back it out though. The mothership core doing a good job of preventing any further worker losses. But he did still get a scout. Saw the Stargate. Instantly, or not actually instantly, I thought I saw an engineering bay flash up, but looks like no it wasn't, and this is odd because there was definitely a scout that Stargate was there. HeroMarine just waiting, not going too much off his normal build. This game, rather than opting for the factory, he is getting down the tech lab with Stim early on. So he's delaying kind of his factory and Stargate tech in order to get Stim earlier. And this is different to what HeroMarine used to do. HeroMarine used to be a massive advocate of the early +1 attack on infantry as opposed to actually getting the early Stim down. So it's interesting to see that he's changed his mind on that a bit. Or at least this game. Oracle is coming down from Zeth. He's going to be looking to get a couple of worker kills himself. 6 Marines do beat an Oracle in a head-up fight, so that's why we see we've got 6 up in the main base, and down in the natural, currently there's only 5, but there's a 6th one in the bunker, ready to come over if required. Reaper now for HeroMarine is going to try and rack up a couple more kills. Going to sneak his way around up into the main, but with the mothership core there, this is predominantly going to be to get the scouting information, as opposed to trying to get any worker kills, and the Reaper is going to die for that. But he sees that just as in last game, there's a very early and fast tech up. Only 1 gate, straight away into the robo, which probably means there's going to be a robotics bay coming down soon. And so HeroMarine has all the information required. +1 is coming out. He's adding in the factory now, ready for his Stargate. And actually, amazingly, no scout had yet gone down by Zeth, so he doesn't know where his opponent is spawning. This is adding a huge delay to the time it takes this Oracle to actually get to his opponent and start dealing damage. Incredibly frustrating, and this is buying all the time HeroMarine requires in order to get out an easily defendable army composition where actually the Oracle won't achieve anything, most likely, other than a couple of Marine kills. So HeroMarine should be feeling pretty confident with how he stands at the moment, adding in that starport and the reactor there. No missile turrets yet, probably not going to need any unless he wants to move out. He's still getting one in his mineral line in both bases, but the just sheer number of Marines should be plenty to try and stop this Oracle. And they're even positioning themselves now at the edge of the base. This is a really common way that the Oracle will fly in, and because of that it's actually trying to go a different way through. The Marines get a nice little bit of damage down on that Oracle, however it was mainly shield damage. Additional gateways now being added in up until this point, and bear in mind we're 9 minutes 40 in, there's only been one gate worth of production of gateway units. So the one Colossus that is about to pop is only going to be supported by a Stalker, 2 Sentries and a Mothership Core. However, that Mothership Core does have a lot of energy on it, 200 to be precise. That's 2 casts, either 2 Photon Overcharges, one of the main, one of the natural, or a Photon Overcharge and a Time Warp. Nice placement of an Observer yet again. Up in the main, this Oracle has managed to pick off 3 kills, taking 1 out of a gas, which for the moment HeroMarine hasn't noticed but does correct. But in he now goes. He's got a decent amount of infantry here. He's aiming to bait out a Photon Overcharge to use some of this Mothership Core energy. The reason he's not going to move in is because there's no medevacs yet. With the 2 medevacs now coming across though, he may decide to go a bit more aggressive. Surprisingly, he hasn't yet noticed that Observer, or if he has, opting not to scan to pick it off. Just happy to leave it there for the time being. That Observer though isn't going to be able to keep a good eye on everything that's happening. But again, in comes the Oracle, trying to try and get a couple more SCV kills, now up to 5. So doing actually a fairly good job, but regardless, HeroMarine, without any, or with only a fraction of the worker kills, is still at the equal worker count. And when you factor in mules, that means that he's got a better income. He's going to have more resources coming in per minute as long as he's muling effectively. There comes down that mule. Going to allow him to catch up. Meanwhile, good number of Phoenix in with this army. They managed to get a free Marine there, but while they are trying to hunt down these medevacs, there's just so much Marine support on the ground for them that if they just try and go in head first, shy of HeroMarine massively keeping these medevacs out of position, they're not going to go down. Proxy Pylon is on its way out as well now for Zeth, ready for some faster warp-ins. Moving his army forward, we're now 12.5 minutes into this game. And the tech is looking really good for Zeth. He's going for the same composition, a lot of Phoenix, a lot of Colossi. Stinging a bit on the gateway support. But HeroMarine, his Viking count is a lot lower. He's only at 4 Vikings, which is going to make it harder for him to engage as of yet. And the gateway army supporting these Colossi is a lot higher. Retreat now from HeroMarine, backing away to safety. Doesn't want to take a trade he can't easily do, especially when he does have a small group of units picking apart at the natural probe line, and these units are getting a good number of kills. One Marine manages to stim up into the main, and the purpose of this isn't to get more damage done, but it's to get a full scout out of everything that's occurring. 12 worker kills now by HeroMarine. He's having to retreat though, but back at home, he's got a good number of Vikings ready to get additional damage down on these Colossi. The Phoenix can start dishing out some damage to the Vikings, but because the Vikings are armoured, they don't do any bonus damage to them. However, they will soak up some of their shots. So unless HeroMarine focuses, which he is doing at the moment, they won't be as effective. But the force fields, they're really good. The Gateway Army managing to soak up a lot of the fire. However, these Vikings managing to take down all but one of the Colossi. One still remains, but a few Marauders and Marines have made their way through. Gonna get the takedown on that. The Gateway units all getting taken apart, and GG is called. HeroMarine is going to take the series 2-0.